Hi guys, it's Richard FLD here again for another video. Today I'm going to be talking about forks and sort of more specifically, sort of taking them off, checking them out, and also I've got some operated fork oil and fork springs. Now, a bike this age, the springs are going to be a bit tired, and it's just fork oil's going to need doing. Depends how well it's been serviced, of course, but and also the front end on these is really squishy anyway, and I'm a bit on the heavy side, so for me I need to stiffen them up a bit. And if you're in the same sort of position, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. I've just ordered these, which are uprated fork springs, and these are actually a spring weight, which is actually matched to my own weight. And obviously, because you can get different ones, you can get them for road, you can get them for racing, you can get them from all sorts, you can get different spring rates, so you can get them pretty much set up however you want. These are just standard springs though. You can also get progressive springs, which if you look at them, they're tightly wound at the bottom and sort of further apart at the top. This means when you go down the road, the sort of softer part will be taking up all the sort of bumps and whatnot and keep it nice and comfortable. And obviously if you need to stop or there's a big bump, you'll still have the bottom section which is tightly wound, and they'll have more sort of what do you call it? Brain's gone dead. Basically it'll have it'll stop it bottoming out. It'll have more sort of springiness, if you know what I mean. I can't think of the word, but yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, these ones, they're matched to my weight, they're for road use, so they should be alright for that. I don't like progressive springs personally. I'd rather just have a proper, full-on uprated spring. As well as that, I've also got some fork oil. This stuff is 15 weight. Sorry about my camera, it never seems to autofocus. 15 weight oil. Standard in this is 10 weight. Some people say, oh, I'll put 10 weight in, but I like having a bit of heavier oil, even though it does slow the damping. But once you've got your oil in, you can put a bit more or less in, depending on how big or small you want your air gap. Because a lot of the sort of a lot of the damping responsiveness is to do with the air gap in the forks. But I won't get in too much into that detail today. I might do another separate video on that. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. There is a lazy way you can do this. Is on the bottom of the forks, like right on the bottom, there's the damper rod bolt which you can unscrew, and you can bleed the forks by sort of pumping them up and down with the bolt out. But I don't like doing that. Plus, you can have issues when you're putting the damper bolt back in. Sometimes you need to hold a damper rod to put the bolt back in, and well, if you can't really do that unless you sort of take them off, so you're screwed. Yeah, I'm going to take them off because also they're a bit on the soft side, so I don't know if they've got oil in. So I'm going to inspect the seals, just have a look, and I'm going to do all that. As for getting around to doing it, what I would say is undo all the bolts first. Obviously other bikes are going to be a little bit different. Of course this is a naked model. The headlights and all that stuff are actually attached onto the forks. It's got a little bracket here which is held on up there and there, so you're going to have to sort of do one at a time. But you want to slacken all the bolts off while the bike is still, the front wheel's still on the ground. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hold the front of the bike up so you can drop the forks out. So the caliper's going to have to come off, mudguard's going to have to come off, the wheel obviously is going to have to come off, caliper there. There's some hoses and stuff which you're going to have to unclip. But yeah, what you want to do is you want to weight the back of the bike or tie the front of the bike up or do something to get the front wheel off the ground. So, if you're propping the bike up, you don't want to be undoing tight bolts with it propped up, because that's just a little bit dodgy. So get all the stuff done. Taking the front wheel off, sorry I'm a bit bunged up today. Taking the front wheel off. Caliper is fairly simple, you've got two bolts there and there. If you've got a bit of lip on the edge of your disc though, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass to get them off, but a bit of force, just don't obviously get a crowbar in there and just go, they will, you just sort of need to rock them backwards and forwards and they'll come off. Yeah, as for the wheel, you've got two little pinch bolts down here, you want to undo them, and then the axle bolt wheel bolt will just unscrew, and it'll get to a point where it ain't unscrewing no more, and you just want to pull it, it'll drop out. But you want to watch out because there's a little spacer in here, and there might be one in the other side, and also you've got the speedo drive, so you're going to want to disconnect the speedo cable first, and also take a note of the position that the speedo drive is in, because if you put it back on, it's up there or it's down there, you could get problems with that. But yeah, I'll sort of do videos as I'll do different clips as I go along, so you know it's a bit more obvious what I'm doing. So yeah, here we go. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got the mud guard off, got the calipers off, got the wheel off, and I'm basically ready to slide one of them out now. One thing, I don't think I've mentioned it in the last segment, but these caps on top, what you want to do, while they're still in the yoke, you want to just slacken off this one and this bolt, and you want to crack these off. Don't take them off all the way yet, just undo them, because they're going to be super tight. And if you take your fork out and you haven't done that, you're going to be tempted to whack it in the vise and try and do it that way, and that can just cause a whole slew of other problems if you start damaging your forks. So get a spanner on it or a socket and do them while they're in the yoke. But yeah, if you've got like a normally faired bike, and you've got like the frame that comes around with the headlight and your fairing, you should be able to pull both out together. But since the headlights and stuff is held on by the forks, I'm going to have to do one at a time. But it should. Now, also, before you take your forks out, you want to just look at the top and see where they come up to. Because some forks will have little markings going down. And depending on those markings, you want to put them back in at the same height. But these are just flush to the top of the forks, so you don't need to worry about that. Well, on this one anyway. Ta-da! It really doesn't take long at all. I mean, that just took me about 5 minutes to do all that. So yeah, I mean, as you can see here, you can see the clocks are mounted on by that. So yeah, next bit. Right guys, so there's the cap. When you're unscrewing these, what you want to do is you want to have your hand on top of the cap and sort of, you know, unscrew it with quite a downwards force. These ones, the springs in these are really weak, so you don't have to worry about sort of pa-ching, bits flying off. But when you put stiffer springs in, there will be a lot of force on those, so you just want to watch out for that. But anyway, here we are. I can't really do this with two hands. Hang on. So what you've got in here is you've got your spacer. Hang on, I need to bloody hell, everything's going everywhere. Right. You've got your spacer, which is this bit, and inside there you'll have a washer and a spring, but you can just tip it up. As you can see, that oil is black. Right, there goes the washer, and there's the spring. Oh shit, it's going everywhere. Oh, disaster. Right, now what you want to do is, if you can, you want to leave these upside down for a few hours at least, just to get all the oil out. Right, I need to stop because oil's going everywhere. Right, now what you want to be doing, I've got a drain pan down there, and I basically held it upside down and sort of pumped it a few times just to get the oil out. I will be leaving this for a few hours to drain, but I'm just doing this at the time being. You want to check your seal down here for any sort of cracks, any leaks, any sort of chunks taken out of it. These aren't too bad. You want to check the stanchions for any pits or corrosion. I mean, you're going to have a few pits on an old bike. If you see any corrosion, you want to get some really fine wet and dry or an oil stone and take those off, because that can wreck your fork seals. Other than that, there's not really a huge amount to do. another thing you want to do is you want to leave your oil sitting for a little while so all the air bubbles disperse, and pour it in really slowly because you don't want to have loads of air bubbles really. But yeah, don't know what else to say really. I mean, you just want to obviously be careful just to not chip anything, break anything, twist the tubes, so just sort of treat them with kid gloves really. And then obviously remember the way it goes in. You got your spring first, you got your washer, which I'm going to have to fish out of there, then your spacer. And what you want to do is you want to get a big ratchet or something when you put this down, and when you put them down, hold it like that and push down so you can screw it on like that. It's just easier that way. So yeah, I'm going to leave these to drain for a while, and yeah, it's amazing the difference in these springs though. This is the original. It's just you can't really tell on camera, but I've already just done this fork and the difference is amazing. I mean, it is worth doing if you've got an oldish bike. Also you can tell the difference there between the two. The spring on the left is so much bigger. No, it's going to be nice. So yeah. Right guys, something I should have said before I put these on. When you've just put the spring in and you put your washer in for the spacer and you put your oil in, what you want to do is you want to take a measurement from the inside before you put the spacer in, put the cap on. You want to measure the air gap, and it's not overly crucial what it is as long as you put the right amount of oil in, but the air gap should be the same in each spring, in each fork. That's the most crucial bit, because if it's out, it's just, I mean, if it's out a little bit you'll probably be alright, but if it's out a lot then you could get some weird handling characteristics. But yeah, it is fairly straightforward. I mean, there's nothing really to look out for that I haven't already said about. Yeah, putting them back is basically the same as taking them apart. So I'm going to put mudguard on, then I'll put the wheel on, and then it's just a case of calipers. Also, one thing I should have said earlier is if your reservoir was full, then you need to push the pads back in to get it off the disc. Watch out, it could be an idea just to open this and get a syringe and take some out, because obviously if you push the pistons in there, well, if this is full then you won't be able to, so you might need to take a bit out here to retract the pistons. But yeah, other than that, that's all my suspension done now. I did my rear shock the other day, so that's all done. New springs, new oil, it should be set up lovely. Next thing is I'm going to be balancing the carburettors. Just this minute I just have to buy myself a vacuum gauge. So my next video will be on setting up the carbs, because if your carbs are out of balance it'll run a bit rough and it won't idle properly, and yeah, you could have a few issues there as well. Also, it just sounds a lot sweeter when your carbs are balanced up nicely. Yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, watch out for my next video, and hopefully soon. It's nice weather actually at the moment, so I'll have my helmet cam soon and I'll be out riding, so hopefully there'll be some actual vlogs and riding videos going on. Yeah, that's all for now. Have fun and catch you later. Bye. Right guys, it's all back together now. Everything's the light is it's a bit better. Everything's all back together now. There's a few little things I had to do. Had to drill out a broken bolt for that cable clamp, and I also put a fender extender on, so all the mud and grime don't go all over the engine and down pipes when I'm riding. But yeah, I just sat on it, it just feels so much better. I can't go for a ride just yet because I've got no tank or air filter. But yeah, total time probably about 2 hours, including all the other bits I did. Don't know what the hell that was, but that just scared the shit out of me. So yeah, next video I'm going to be synchronising the carburetors. So I'll show you what's entailed in that and what you need. But yeah, that's all for now. One thing I forgot to mention is the speedo drive down here. When you take that off, you might want to watch out, because on some bikes the actual inner of the cable isn't actually fixed properly permanently into the speedo housing. So what happens is you take that off and it can actually just slide out. So what I did is I made sure I held it and I sort of pinned it up here so it didn't slide out. So that's just one thing to look out for. So if you take your wheel off, then your speedo ain't working. That's probably what it is. But yeah, that's all for now. As I said, watch out for future videos. I'm coming to the end of it now. All I want to do, I just got to do oil and filter wherever the filter's gone. Oh, there's a mess in here. And yeah, synchronise the carbs. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and hopefully in a week or two I'll be getting some good old helmet cam footage. So yeah, that's all for now. Cheers for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. Cheers guys.